Didi.
Hey everybody, Armand here, Cheese Skills. Welcome to our podcast. And today we are talking about the importance of being open and the word open in general in context to the training. And there's no day that goes by that we're not using that word. So open is used in every lesson, in every, so
Yeah.
it deserves a podcast to just investigate this word. So Didi, what does this word mean for you? Just let's start it from there. Let's see
Yeah.
what comes out.
Well, open. For me personally, it's the being open for life and what life has in store. And that's a very,
Beautiful.
very big thing.
I love it.
But I think you get so many opportunities every day, every minute of the day. There are so many things coming at you where you can say yes or no. And what I see with the training being that I'm more open for new things, to introduce new routines into my life, to introduce new ways of seeing things, to connect with things. So I see that there is a transformation from starting the training, and of course I had to be open to start the training to actually do that. And I think I've been born with something in me that always wants to
Yeah.
explore. And
Yep.
but I think also when you still I'm putting a lot of words in here, conditioning, from your conditioning in your youth, you kind of start on your path that's kind of been expecting from you, and then at a certain point you think, oh, is this it? And then you say, okay, I want something else. There is
A
a
conflict maybe, or there's something
yeah,
inner conflict with
yeah.
something, or
You want to kind of change things, and it's not how you want to live your life. So, and then there's this openness to start the training, and you see it's kind of a muscle. It's a kind of a when you start the training, there is not that much bandwidth to work with.
yeah.
But after a while you're training, there is more focus, more concentration, and then when new things come on your path, you're like, yes, of course I will try. And there's the thing with openness, what we do a lot, or let me talk for myself, is that you try to figure it out in your head. Like if there is a new challenge coming, like something that I do a lot with food, of course, or we
Yeah.
do a lot of
Sure.
with our diets.
Diets,
Like,
yeah.
okay, what can we do to optimize it? Sorry.
Yeah.
And when I read new things, or when somebody mentions something to me, sometimes I try to figure out in my head, like, oh, what's that gonna do for me?
Right.
So for example, 2 meals a day. What would that do with my system, with my body,
Yeah.
my emotions? But I can figure it out in my head, but I can never know what it does if I don't try.
Exactly. You're open for this experiment, and then, giving it enough time to, experience a change, or, and really investigate,
Yeah.
and giving that the time. And that's
Yeah.
so powerful.
And and you need to have the openness for that, and to be able to go in
Yeah.
and say, yes, I'm just gonna do that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you need energy. You need to take that first step, and when you're in, then it's easier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Beautiful,
that's
beautiful. But
that's
yeah,
something.
so this openness is already a result of something being open and present, right? And this
Yeah,
is such an interesting thing, and that's I guess it's just a spiritual thing where you're born awake in a certain manner. I don't know. I don't have any. How do you say that? You only know yourself, right?
yeah, sure.
And I know you pretty well, but yeah, there's hard to find any comparison, but there's already the door is open already,
Yeah,
right? So the lock, it's that this door is not locked. It's already open. It's sort of ajar, a tiny bit, I guess, and the light can come through. And I think from the moment you were born, you had that, and
yeah,
you still have that, and never really lost it,
yeah,
and then and went with
yeah.
that.
And I think we are very fortunate in our lives that we have a lot of opportunity. I think everybody has opportunity, but yeah, for some it's easier than for someone else in what kind of
Yeah,
situation you grow up, and we
absolutely.
are very fortunate here. But then you can choose. I mean, you can. It's always a choice if you what path you walk on, and
Yeah,
every morning, are you very conscious on choosing what you want for that day?
for that day. Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's an art in itself.
Yeah,
That's a process also.
yeah,
I think the Qigong process is such a great support of this,
yeah,
right? So you are already born open. There's this awareness, but then at a point this training almost finds you in your life, right?
absolutely.
Where it says, okay, wait a minute. There's been a lot of people before you who went through these trainings and created systems which can be a foundation for you to even, make this leap in your life, in this lifetime, where you grow into even more openness and realization and experience and understanding also of
Yeah,
what life is and what it can be for you on all
yeah,
these levels. So
yeah,
this support system, this daily support system that we have
yeah,
to I like it, when these Buddhists, these Zen monks say something like, every morning you start as a beginner,
yeah,
right? Every morning you have all these options, and these options they become your playground. It's like, okay, so every morning I have the chance to like your day is a lifetime, right? Where you get born and where you sort of die at the end of the
yeah,
day, and then and so how do you live that day and
yeah.
then go further and further and beyond? Yeah, it's
I
mind blowing.
I think that's well. We've mentioned it before on podcasts. I studied traditional Chinese medicine with the elements, and there is so much of that. Um, there is such a hope in if you look at your life in a way of yin yang and the elements where you always look for that balance.
Yeah,
You always every day, whatever your situation is, you always have a choice to see how can I restore more of that balance, that openness, that flow. How can I still support that in my life, whatever
absolutely.
the situation is?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
But you have to grow into that and wake up
absolutely,
into
yeah,
that more and more. Every day you wake up more and see your habits. And I always like it when you say it's like it's almost a conflict where you say in order to be open, you already also have to say no,
yeah,
right? So you say I'm open to what life has to offer, but in growing, you also have to understand that there's things that you have to let go
yeah,
of, on your road, on your path to
yeah,
wherever, so that's also a thing,
yeah,
right? And this sort of crystallizes your day more and
yeah,
more, where I think our life has become so much more transparent and open, and there's so much less noise in the background
stickiness,
and stickiness.
yeah,
Absolutely, it's not like, oh, I could do this. No, there's so much more focus now and clarity on everything, and you just recognize that day by day what it means to be open and the effect that has on your day-to-day life. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So how is that for you?
Well, a lot of the same that you're saying,
Yeah.
and I love it what you're saying here. And for me, it's so the meaning of open when this word came into my life was straight in my first lesson ever, where we did standing practice. My teacher said, "Okay, your joints have to be open." And he was really talking about also like, so how is this wrist and this hand, and really listen, bring your mind there in this joint, the wrist, and open it in such a way that you feel, oh, there's a connection happening. And how about the elbow? And then he put me in this position of what does it mean to be open? And that became a thing. I went in it like crazy, and standing every day, etc., etc. And that came, and then doing that for a while, I learned my first Tai Chi moves, the positions, partner training, and I didn't learn a form at first, like what a lot of people learns, like the 24 form or the long form or whichever form. But I learned a different form. I learned an open form. I learned a shape. I learned a roundness, and that went into So I said, no form training, but he had different steps, like you say brush knee or something. And we would just continually do brush knee with this openness, and that just did something for me, in my life, and it became more aware of my body, and the connection became so big. But if you bring that now to where I am now today, and you're talking about open, this physical aspect is still very important. Yeah. And throughout the years, I've learned routines and methods to strengthen this physical openness, which I find is the absolute foundation for being open, even in a different manner, right? So physically open, that's the first opening, is the opening of the joints. And then we have another opening that's like the vital energy field. Feel this energy, open up this energy body. And what does that do in your life, right? This openness, it brings you in contact with the vital energy of everything. Absolutely. So you restore your connection with life, because you understand now I am life. Yeah. So I think your reality shifts dramatically. Yeah. Right. So first on a physical level, but making sure that it's supporting these next levels, because these next levels even become more interesting. Yeah. Because after opening the energy body, there's the opening of the mental space. And now it's like, wow, I am consciousness. And everyone who lives has a consciousness, right? Everything that lives has a consciousness. Consciousness is like the stuff that everything is made of. And so I think this is the huge paradigm shift that in the last, how many years? 16 years of training has shifted from this foundation of being physically open, which is still very important to me, daily training to stretch and work out, etc., to have a very strong elastic body. But there's been a huge shift in my reality. And that's the way back for me, right? It's just being present here with a large mental space that is supported by everything, all these frequencies. And that's also the thing you're starting to teach. And also this and that's, I think, for me at this moment in training and in life, the most important thing is that I can influence my state of being all the time. Yeah. I can choose to feel great every time. And that is what this training does as well, right? So, and I think the whole foundation builds up to that. It's like, so I'm an energy being. So how does this energy feel? And how is it moving through life? And now it starts connecting with what you were saying at the beginning of this podcast, is like, where's life taking me? Because you start realizing you're just a medium, right? In something that's so much bigger than yourself. Yeah. And I think that's what this training does for me. But it needs this foundation. So that's why every morning we start with stretching. We start with the exercises to support this. Because if we don't do that, the tendency can be to contract. And that's the opposite of open. Yeah. Contraction is the opposite of open, being open. And
also because we are talking a lot about training as in doing stretches, doing or even meditation and stuff, but also the food that we eat. It has such a big impact.
Yep.
Like we kind of figured out what is the best breakfast for us, but it really goes a long way, especially that morning routine with all the steps that we're doing.
Everything should add up to you being very concentrated
Yeah.
in life, right? So your sleep, your digestion, your workouts, it's a purification thing as well,
Absolutely.
right? It's
Yeah.
so, and that goes step by step, but because at a certain point you feels like, wait a minute, this influences my state.
Yeah.
And I want to feel this way. I want to be of service here, right? And if I have a lousy lifestyle, it's not going to help, right? And so yeah, it's just a beautiful process,
Yeah.
really. So this openness goes such a long way. You know, you start with being open to the training, but then all these openings start happening
Yeah.
until you feel connected, and your purpose is clear. Right? There's. If I listen now, it's like, well, I hear the refrigerator here. You might as well, but in the background, it's very still.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the biggest gift, you know,
Yeah.
being present here and being open, like you said, for what life has to offer and how you, with all your talents, can be of service.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Wow.
That's a great thing to end with, I think.
I think so. I think so too. Thanks for that. It was beautiful.
And hope to see you next time.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as well. And see you in another one. Thanks for listening, watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.